Hey guys, and welcome back to Danganranpa. So we just finished up our little recess, and now we're back to the class trial. So we've all just learned the shocking revelation that Chihiro is actually a boy. So let's pick up from there. Yes, well, I don't know his reason for hiding it, but the fact is Chihiro was not a girl, but a boy. To think that Chihiro was actually a guy, the thought had never even crossed my mind. And because the victim was male, you would have no problem gaining access to the boys' locker room. Assuming his handbook did in fact list his gender as male, then yes, that would be true. Of course his handbook said he was a boy. He dressed like a girl, but he was a boy through and through. So then there should be no issue with Makoto's initial assertion. The victim was killed in the boys' locker room and then later moved to the girls' locker room. And the killer could have easily used Sayaka's or Junko's handbook to get into the girls' locker room. So Chihiro really was killed in the boys' locker room? Yes. I still don't understand the motive for moving the body, but yes, that does seem plausible. Well, I must admit, I did find it rather odd. I knew he felt a little off. There was a certain incongruity with his female body. This is the most tantalizing situation. So now everything has been connected. All the mysteries have finally become clear. Well, connected or clear or whatever, we still think you're the killer, remember? Very interesting. This has become a very interesting indeed. He's off in his little world. What about you, Makoto? After everything we've learned, do you still think Byakuya is the killer? Well, without a doubt, Byakuya is one of the ones that made Chihiro's death look like Genocide Jack did it. But I think that he might actually be the killer after all. What? But aren't you the one who accused him in the first place? He just seemed to be too easygoing about all this. Like, he's enjoying us solving the mystery. The way he's acting, it makes him seem that he doesn't have anything to do with him. And you think that might be because it doesn't have anything to do with him? Plus, the evidence he left behind was a little too... how can I put it? Overt? He consciously chose to use the extension cord knowing it could be connected back to the murder. At least that's how I see it. In Byakuya, when you found out the murder took place in the boys' locker room, you seemed rattled. And then again, when you found out Chihiro was actually a guy. If you really were the killer, that stuff wouldn't have any effect on you. So that's your thinking, huh? Well, it bothers me that you don't have any more concrete reasons, but it's fine. I guess I'll mark it as correct for the time being. Correct. He's right. I'm not the culprit. I just happened to come across a corpse in the girls' locker room and decided to alter it. What? You monster! Are you fucking with us right now? No, I'm not. Effing with you right now. I'm telling you the truth. Well, I find it very hard to believe. Go ahead. Find it very hard to believe. You're free to be executed along with the rest of us. If you're really telling the truth, then why? Why would you do that to his body? My reasons hardly matter right now. Uncovering the culprit is much more important when you say... So he just changed it? Now then, if it wasn't me, who was it? Well, I don't think I can say for sure without talking about it a little more. We're seriously gonna keep going? We're all good, aren't we? We thought it was clear. I thought it was clear that Byakuya did it. No, I'm with Makoto. If there's any doubt whatsoever, we need to explore every possibility. Because if we're wrong, we all die here. That's true. Very well then. I'm with you too. Damn straight. Count me in. Do you not have a mind on your own? Of course I do. What I am, an ant or something? Anyways, let's discuss this as a group one more time, and we still have time to make our decision. That's very true. Our lives are all on the line. Excellent. Then shall we resume our game of hide and seek? But if Byakuya didn't do it, then who's the real killer? Who murdered Chihiro? There's one thing that we can be sure of that we know about the killer. The killer was able to gain access to the real murder scene, which means the killer is a guy. Since the crime scene was in the boys' locker room, you would need a boys' handbook to get in. Since Leon's handbook is apparently broken, the killer would have to had used their own. In other words, it had to have been a guy. But that's still not enough. We need to find some more clues. Here we go. So now we need to pull up Celeste's account. Here we go. There still isn't a single clue that might lead us to who did it. Well, clues are one thing, but nobody take a good look at the killer. If someone saw the killer, that would have said something by now. Perhaps someone saw the victim at some point, even though that might not be enough for now. Yeah, we all need right now is to ask anything. Well, it's all over. It's all over. Shut the fuck up. You want to know who saw the victim? And the only killer. So this one. Boom. Break. So it wasn't just the killer. Celeste also saw her. I believe someone else did see the victim before she was murdered. Or he. What do you think, Celeste? Now that you mention it, yes, I did see him. What? Really? Yeah. But I suppose only Makoto knows about this. The rest of you had no idea, did you? That is why you're all making such ugly noises. Whatever, just hurry up and tell us. It was last night, right before nighttime. I saw Chihiro in the dormitory warehouse. I saw him stuffing a track jacket into the duffel bag. And then I assume he headed off to exercise. A track jacket in a duffel bag? We didn't find anything like that at the murder scene. It seems likely that the culprit destroyed them to get rid of any evidence. And that's when he said something that struck me as rather odd. Well, I better be going. I'm kind of in a hurry. Chihiro told me that he was in a hurry. But why would he be in a hurry? Only if someone were waiting for him, I should think. So Mr. Fujisaki was on his way to meet with someone, and then they were going to work out together. But Hina and I had invited him to exercise with us plenty of times, and he always declined. Probably because he was afraid that you'd find out his secret he was hiding, right? Which means that conversely, he must have trusted whoever he was meeting with very much. Even though, enough so that he was willing to risk his secret being revealed. What a marvelous friendship! The point is, whoever he met up with is the culprit, right? So we just gotta figure out who it was. But knowing what we know, I can't even guess. No, you already have what you need to make the connection. You know who the killer is. Seriously? Who is it? Who is the killer? Think back to the track jacket and duffel bag the killer disposed of. Focus on the details of these items and it should become obvious who was waiting for him. Are you sure about that? You really think we can figure out who did it based on two pieces of evidence that we don't have? What? You want to track down some fingerprints or something? Even if we had the equipment for that, we wouldn't even know how to use it. As was noted, the evidence was already gone. There's nothing to get fingerprints from. Maybe, but we can make certain inferences if we just take the time to talk it out. Easy for you to say. But fine, Celeste. Did you notice anything special about the bag or jacket? The bag was just a normal duffel bag from the warehouse. All the bags in there are the same, so I can't imagine that would make that one would make one so special. Well, if I remember right, there was a decent variety of tracksuits to choose from. Do you think that there was some kind of connection between the culprit and Chihiro's jacket? Perhaps let's explore that and talk about the jacket he took. Does Chihiro's track jacket really hold some clue about the killer? Somehow, it's really hard to believe. All right, here we go. So the bullet that we want to have is Celeste's account. And so first of all, we know where Chihiro was headed. He was on his way to go exercise. So next we have to ask, why did he choose a specific tracksuit that he did? What do you mean the specific tracksuit? I got it. He picked the tracksuit because it matched the one that the culprit was wearing. So what you're saying is the killer was wearing the same blue tracksuit as him? You fucked up. Boom. How'd you know? Hold on a second, Mondo. What did you just say? What'd I say? When Celeste testified a few minutes ago, she said, I saw him stuffing a track jacket into a duffel bag. And then I assumed he headed off to exercise. She never said anything about the jacket's color. So why did you say Chihiro's blue tracksuit? What are you? You just... Hey Celeste, what color was Chihiro's tracksuit? As a matter of fact, it was blue. And before we began the trial, did you tell anyone that? The only one I told about this, the only one I told any of this of was to you. That was a bad sentence. Then Mondo, how did you know what color Chihiro's tracksuit was? Because I'm sure he saw the clothes at some point in the investigation. No, that can't be. The bag and clothes were surely disposed of by the time we began our investigation. Then the only reason he could have known what color the tracksuit was is if he saw Cherry with it before he died. That's the only possibility. Cherry, are you talking about Chihiro? So how about it? Did you see the tracksuit or didn't you? By chance, I just happened to see it last night. He walked past me, he was carrying the tracksuit in his hands. No, that can't be it either. According to Celeste's testimony, she stuffed the jacket into her bag in a hurry. It was almost like she was trying to hide it. And just like that, she was gone. When Celeste noticed it, Chihiro made a point of making sure the jacket was completely in the bag. If you just ran into him briefly, you couldn't possibly have seen what color the tracksuit was. Uh-oh. I think we're starting to figure out. It would appear that you've dug your own grave. Perhaps, but you handed him the shovel, didn't you? That's why you said what you did. Focus on the tracksuit and it'll be obvious who he met with. What a bunch of nonsense. Now I understand. It was all one big bluff, wasn't it? Your true intention was to draw a slip of the tongue from the culprit. That's why you said that you knew who did it and to put them on edge. That's right. However, Mondo was my target all along. I had my suspicions about him from the very beginning. But why? What made you so suspicious? That's a good question. It's the way he was talking. There's a certain turning point that tipped me off. Maybe you didn't notice it, Mondo, but you tend to refer to men and women differently. You only call guys dudes, and for girls, it's chicks. After he was killed, you happened to refer him as dude. Once I picked up on that, it occurred to me that Mondo knew something we didn't. You noticed such a tiny detail? I don't think I noticed that either. Are you a witch? She's a witch. You're positively frightful. No, I'm not the frightful one. Not nearly as frightful as someone capable of murdering a friend. Mondo, was it really you? Did you really kill Chihiro? I didn't kill anyone. You've been all over me, judging everything I say, putting words in my mouth. What gives you the right to treat me like a goddamn criminal? Yeah, you would never do something like that. This is a false accusation. It's true, my reasoning is pretty shaky. That was fast. Well then, this does present us with a problem. It seems that we are all out of leads. My time has nearly come. That's what my little ghost friend is telling me. Oh yeah, that reminds me, Hifumi. Weren't you telling me you'd found some evidence? Really? What kind of evidence? Actually, you know, now that I'm thinking about it here calmly, it might not be all that relevant. Jeez, did your confidence just get up and walk away? It's fine, man. Just tell us. This guy, the guy who just like flips on a dime. If you really insist, then here it is. What do you have there? It happens to be an e-handbook. I found it lying on the ground, so I scooped it up. You found it on the ground, then it must belong to Chihiro. You know Chihiro's handbook was missing from the scene of the crime, right? For a fact. For a fact indeed. I was totally sure I'd found it. Then it must hold some clue about the culprit, right? Well, that's what I was hoping for, but it's busted. It won't even turn on. I imagine the culprit broke it to get rid of evidence after the murder. That's odd. I didn't think the handbook were quite so fragile. You're right. They're not. They're totally waterproof, shock resistant. It would take an awful lot to break one. And yet, this one does appear to be broken, as is Leon's, sitting useless in the main hall. For all the confidence, that is a remarkably high failure rate. Do you think there was some kind of mystery in there somewhere? How precisely did the handbooks get broken? How did the handbooks break? There's only one possible explanation. By hitting its weak point. You already told us before that the handbook has one weak point, didn't you? You remember that? Sure, maybe I let that slip, but I never told anyone what that weak point actually was. But if the handbook is supposed to never break, and the two of them broke in such quick succession, then we can only assume that someone figured out its weakness. You know what the weakness is, right, Monokuma? So what is it? You're asking me? I think it's necessary piece of information if you want this to be a fair trial. But if I tell you and someone else decides to copy it, that would be very not good. Just tell us already. Why would we want to break our own handbooks? Oh well. I have a weakness for pushy demands, but you're all sure that you won't follow their example? Then allow me to make a special announcement. The weak point of my cutting-edge e-handbook is... when it's exposed to high temperatures for too long, it will suffer a meltdown and totally break. High heat. I flippin' knew it. You knew it? Because I found the handbook lying on the floor of the sauna. The temperature in the sauna can reach over 200 degrees. Strange how you don't get burnt, huh? It's because your sweat evaporates and it creates a cooling layer of air around your skin. If the hot air of the sauna were somehow pushed directly onto your skin, you'd definitely get fried. That layer of air would get blown away. That's why you feel a burning when you move around. So, when you're in a sauna, make sure to keep nice and still. Wow, interesting. I learned a new fact today. All right, Ishimaru. That's a mere trifling speck of knowledge. Anyways, if you found the victim's handbook in the sauna, then the killer must have been purposely trying to raise its temperature in order to break it. Meaning the culprit somehow knew its weakness. But how'd they find out? Monokuma said he didn't tell anyone, right? Indeed, quite the mystery. What if they found out by accident? What do you mean by accident? What if the killer took their own handbook into the sauna, not knowing its weakness, and it broke? They'd realize it was broken, of course, and it wouldn't be hard to figure out why. And once they had Chihiro's handbook, they knew they had an easy way of disposing of it. I wouldn't say it's not possible, but who would have done something like that? I don't know of anyone who took their handbook into the sauna. If you guys remember, Mondo and Ishimaru had that sauna battle, and he kept his clothes on, which means he probably had his handbook in. I might know someone who did it. Whoa, seriously? I think the one who may have taken their handbook into the sauna was... Who might have brought their handbooks into the sauna? Ishimaru knows. It had to be the ones who wore all their clothes into the sauna. It was... Select someone. It was... Mondo. Mondo, your handbook got broken in the sauna, didn't it? What? Why do you keep accusing him? Mondo and Taka had an endurance contest in the sauna not too long ago, remember? And for the contest, Mondo just happened to keep his school uniform on. But little did he realize he also left his handbook in one of his uniform pockets. And when it was all over, Mondo discovered by taking your handbook into the sauna could easily destroy it. Wait, hold on. You've got it all wrong. He would never kill. I don't accept this. Show me proof, the actual solid proof. I mean, I don't want to believe it either, but I found something that proves it beyond a shadow of a doubt. Here we go. The broken e-handbook. So we're gonna load the broken e-handbook. Alright, and now we are going to do this. If he says it's correct, then Mondo, you broke your own handbook. In other words, if Mondo's handbook is actually broken, that proves that what Mondo said, or Makoto said, is true. You fucked up. Works just fine, my ass. Break! Break. Mondo, the handbook you have right now, is it really yours? The fuck is that supposed to mean? The broken handbook that was in the main hall. Isn't that one actually yours? What the heck are you talking about? He has Chihiro's. That means I think Mondo swapped his handbook out for the one that actually works. I think he took Leon's handbook and replaced it with his own. Oh, he took Leon's. After all, Monokuma said himself that Leon's handbook never should have broke. Oh, because it was... Alright. So the one in... Okay, gotcha. That's right. The punishment it suffered wasn't nearly enough to destroy it. So he has Leon's. So then the broken handbook in the main hall is actually Mondo's. That was broken in the sauna. Which would mean that the handbook Mondo has right now is actually Leon's. Right? But that doesn't violate the school regulations that says loaning your handbook is prohibited. No, because he's dead. Well, here is how I look at it. There's a rule about loaning your handbook to another student, but if they're dead, they're not a student. It's kind of a gray area, I admit. But no worries. If anything, it makes things more interesting. As such, I decree the exchanging of handbooks with a corpse is not a violation of the rules. Well, Mondo, if I'm wrong about this, you're welcome to say so. I'm happy to admit I made my mistake, but... Son of a bitch! What's wrong, bro? Come on, tell him he's wrong. You are wrong. You have to be wrong. Everything you said is wrong. You made it all up. Okay, then why don't we look back in this case one more time from the beginning? That way everything will become clear and we'll see if I was wrong or right. Closing argument, begin. Alright, guys. But that's it for this episode. Thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed it. And the next episode, we're going to finish up the closing arguments, and then we're going to finish up the class trial.